The Journey of Aisha. Chapter 1. The Little Village. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between lush green hills and sparkling blue rivers, there lived a young girl named Aisha. The village of Nurabad was known for its breathtaking beauty and its warm-hearted people. The houses were simple yet charming, with thatched roofs and colorful flower gardens. The villagers led a peaceful life, farming their lands and tending to their livestock. Aisha was a bright and curious girl of 12. She had big, brown eyes that sparkled with curiosity and a smile that could light up the darkest of days. She lived with her parents in a cozy little cottage at the edge of the village. Her father, Hamza, was a hard-working farmer, and her mother, Amira, was a skilled weaver. Aisha loved helping her parents with their work, but she also had a dream that set her apart from other children in Nurabad. Ever since she was a little girl, Aisha had been fascinated by the stories her grandmother told her about distant lands and great adventures. Her grandmother, Nani, was a storyteller of great renown in the village. Every evening, children and adults alike would gather around Nani to listen to her enchanting tales. Nani's stories were filled with magic, bravery, and wisdom. Aisha's favorite story was about a faraway city called Zahara, a place of endless opportunities and wonders. Aisha's dream was to visit Zahara one day. She would often sit by the riverbank, gazing at her reflection in the water, and imagine herself walking through the bustling streets of the grand city. However, Nurabad was a humble village, and most people never traveled beyond its boundaries. The idea of a young girl traveling alone to a distant city seemed impossible to many. But Aisha was determined. She knew that if she worked hard and saved enough money, she could make her dream come true. She started by doing small tasks for her neighbors, such as fetching water from the well, helping with the harvest, and tending to the animals. The villagers admired Aisha's dedication and often rewarded her with a few coins or a warm meal. As the years passed, Aisha grew stronger and more confident. She learned to read and write from the village schoolteacher, Mr. Faisal, who noticed her eagerness to learn. Mr. Faisal encouraged Aisha to pursue her dreams and often lent her books about faraway places. Aisha devoured these books, her imagination taking flight with every page she turned. One summer evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Aisha sat with her grandmother under the old banyan tree. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming jasmine, and the village was quiet, except for the distant sound of crickets. Nani began one of her stories, but tonight, Aisha had something different on her mind. Nani, Aisha said softly, "Do you think I will ever see Zahara?" Nani looked at her granddaughter, her wise old eyes twinkling with affection. "My dear Aisha, if you believe in your heart and work towards your dream, nothing is impossible. The journey may be long and difficult, but it is the journey that shapes us into who we are meant to be." Aisha nodded, feeling a surge of determination. She hugged her grandmother tightly and whispered, "Thank you, Nani. I will make you proud." That night, as Aisha lay in her bed, she made a promise to herself. She would save enough money, gather enough knowledge, and muster enough courage to embark on the journey to Zahara. Little did she know that her journey would be filled with unexpected challenges and extraordinary discoveries. Chapter 2. Preparations and Goodbyes. The next morning, Aisha woke up with a sense of purpose. She went about her daily chores with renewed vigor, her mind constantly planning for the future. She decided to talk to her parents about her dream. Although she knew they might worry, she hoped they would understand her passion. After dinner, as the family sat together by the fire, Aisha took a deep breath and began to speak. Baba, Ammi, there is something I need to tell you. Hamza and Amira exchanged curious glances. What is it, my dear? Asked Amira. I want to go to Zahara, Aisha said, her voice steady. I have been saving money and learning as much as I can. I believe that I can make the journey and find a better future for us. Her parents listened quietly, their faces a mix of surprise and concern. Finally, Hamza spoke. Aisha, we are proud of your ambition and your hard work. But Zahara is far away, and the journey is dangerous. How will you manage on your own? Aisha had anticipated this question. I have been preparing, Baba. I have saved enough money for the journey, and I have learned many skills that will help me. I will be careful and find good people to help me along the way. Amira reached out and held Aisha's hand. We trust you, Aisha. You have always been wise beyond your years. If this is truly what you want, we will support you. But promise us that you will stay safe and return home one day. Tears welled up in Aisha's eyes as she hugged her parents. I promise, Ammi. I will come back and share all the wonderful things I discover. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of preparations. Aisha packed a small bag with essentials, clothes, a blanket, a few books, and a pouch containing her hard-earned savings. Her parents gave her a sturdy pair of shoes and a woven shawl to protect her from the elements. Nanny gifted her a small pendant with a picture of a lotus flower, a symbol of resilience and beauty. On the morning of her departure, the entire village gathered to bid Aisha farewell. The villagers had grown fond of the young girl with big dreams, and they wanted to send her off with their blessings. Mr. Faisal handed her a journal and a pen. Write about your journey, Aisha. Your stories will inspire us all. Aisha hugged each of her friends and neighbors, promising to write letters and keep in touch. As she stood at the edge of the village, she turned back one last time to see the familiar faces of her loved ones. With a final wave, she set off on the path that led out of Nurabad, her heart pounding with excitement and a touch of fear. The journey to Zahara had begun. Chapter 3. The Road to Zahara. Aisha's journey started with a sense of adventure. The road stretched before her, winding through fields of golden wheat and dense forests. The air was filled with the sounds of birds chirping and leaves rustling in the breeze. Aisha walked with a steady pace, her eyes wide with wonder at the new sights and sounds. As she traveled, she met many different people. Some were kind and offered her food and shelter for the night. Others were curious about her journey and asked her about her destination. Aisha enjoyed these conversations, learning about different ways of life and gaining valuable advice from the travelers she met. One evening, as she was setting up camp by a river, she met a group of merchants heading to Zahara. They were a lively bunch, with colorful carts filled with spices, silks, and other exotic goods. The leader of the group, a jovial man named Karim, noticed Aisha and invited her to join him for dinner. Where are you headed, young traveler? Kareem asked as they sat by the fire, sharing a meal of bread and stew. I'm going to Zahara, Aisha replied. I've heard so many wonderful stories about the city. And I want to see it for myself. Kareem raised an eyebrow. Zahara. That's quite a journey for a young girl like you. But I admire your courage. If you like, you can travel with us. We're headed to Zahara ourselves. And it's always safer to travel in a group. Aisha's heart leaped with joy. Thank you, Kareem. I would love to join you. Traveling with the merchants proved to be a delightful experience. They taught Aisha how to navigate the roads, bargain with traders, and even a few words in different languages. Kareem, in particular, became a mentor to her, sharing stories of his own travels and the wisdom he had gained over the years. One night, as they camped under the starry sky, Kareem told Aisha a story that left a deep impression on her. Years ago, he began, I was just like you, full of dreams and eager to see the world. I left my village with nothing but a bag of clothes and a heart full of hope. The journey was tough, and I faced many challenges. But each challenge taught me something valuable. Remember, Aisha, it's not just the destination that matters, but the journey itself. Every step you take, every person you meet, shapes who you are. Aisha pondered Kareem's words as she lay in her tent that night. She realized that her journey to Zahara was not just about reaching the city, but about growing and learning along the way. She felt grateful for the experiences she had had so far and looked forward to the adventures that lay ahead. As the days turned into weeks, Aisha and the merchants continued their journey. They crossed vast deserts, climbed rugged mountains, and navigated bustling markets. Aisha marveled at the diversity of the landscapes and the people she encountered. She filled her journal with sketches and notes, capturing the essence of each place she visited. Finally, after many weeks of travel, they reached the outskirts of Zahara. The sight that greeted Aisha took her breath away. The city was even more magnificent than she had imagined. Towering spires and grand palaces gleamed in the sunlight, and the streets buzzed with activity. Colorful banners fluttered in the breeze, and the air was filled with the scent of spices and flowers. Aisha's heart swelled with excitement as she stepped through the gates of Zahara. She had made it. She had reached the city of her dreams. Chapter 4. The Wonders of Zahara. Zahara was everything Aisha had hoped for and more. The city was a vibrant tapestry of cultures, with people from all corners of the world. The streets were lined with bustling markets, elegant tea houses, and magnificent mosques. Everywhere she looked, there was something new and fascinating to see. Aisha decided to start by exploring the famous Grand Bazaar. The bazaar was a labyrinth of narrow alleys and open squares, filled with stalls selling everything imaginable: spices, fabrics, jewelry, pottery, and exotic fruits. The air was thick with the sounds of merchants calling out their wares and the scent of roasting meats and fresh bread. As Aisha wandered through the bazaar, she felt a sense of wonder and excitement. She stopped at a spice stall, where a kind old man named Hassan explained the different spices and their uses. He even gave her a small pouch of saffron as a gift. At a fabric stall, she admired the vibrant silks and intricate embroidery. The shopkeeper, a woman named Layla, showed her how to distinguish between different qualities of fabric and gave her a small piece of brocade as a souvenir. Aisha also visited the many tea houses scattered throughout the city. Each tea house had its own unique charm, with colorful cushions, delicate lanterns, and the soothing sound of flowing water. She enjoyed sitting with a cup of fragrant tea, listening to the conversations around her and soaking in the atmosphere. It was in these tea houses that Aisha met many interesting people and heard their stories. She learned about their lives, their dreams, and their challenges. One day, while exploring a quieter part of the city, Aisha stumbled upon a beautiful garden hidden behind high walls. The garden was a peaceful oasis, filled with blooming flowers, shady trees, and the gentle sound of a bubbling fountain. Aisha felt a sense of tranquility as she wandered through the garden, admiring the vibrant colors and inhaling the sweet fragrance of the flowers. In the center of the garden, she found an elderly woman sitting on a bench, reading a book. The woman looked up and smiled warmly at Aisha. "Welcome, young traveler. My name is Zahara. What brings you to this hidden gem?" Aisha introduced herself and told Zahara about her journey from Nurabad and her dream of seeing Zahara. Zahara listened with interest and then said, "You have a brave and adventurous spirit, Aisha. This garden is a special place, a sanctuary for those who seek peace and wisdom. You are welcome to visit anytime you wish." Aisha thanked Zahara and spent the rest of the afternoon in the garden, reading a book that Zahara lent her. She felt a deep sense of contentment and gratitude. Zahara was not just a city of wonders, but also a place where she could find peace and inspiration. Chapter 5. New Friends and New Beginnings. As the weeks turned into months, Aisha settled into life in Zahara. She found a small room to rent in a friendly neighborhood and started working at a bookshop owned by a kind man named Yusuf. The bookshop was a cozy place, filled with shelves of books on every subject imaginable. Aisha loved being surrounded by books and often lost herself in reading during her free time. Yusuf was impressed by Aisha's knowledge and enthusiasm for learning. He encouraged her to continue her studies and even helped her enroll in a local school. Aisha was thrilled to have the opportunity to learn more and expand her horizons. She made new friends at school, and they often studied together at the bookshop or in the garden that Zahara had shown her. One of Aisha's closest friends was a girl named Zahara. Zahara was a talented artist with a passion for painting. She and Aisha quickly bonded over their shared love of creativity and adventure. They spent many afternoons exploring the city, visiting art galleries, and discussing their dreams and aspirations. Zahara introduced Aisha to her family, who welcomed her with open arms. Zahara's parents were musicians, and their home was always filled with music and laughter. Aisha enjoyed spending time with Zahara's family, learning about their traditions and listening to their beautiful music. It was in this warm and loving environment that Aisha felt a sense of belonging and found the support she needed to pursue her dreams. One evening, as they sat by the river, Zahara asked Aisha, "What do you want to do in the future?" "Aisha, you have so much talent and potential." Aisha thought for a moment and then replied, "I want to continue learning and exploring. I want to see more of the world and share my experiences with others. And one day, I hope to return to Nurabad and help my village in any way I can." Zahara smiled and said, "I believe in you, Aisha. You have the courage and determination to achieve anything you set your mind to." Aisha felt a surge of gratitude for her friend. With the support of people like Zahara, Yusuf, and Soraya, she knew she could accomplish great things. Chapter 6: The Festival of Lights. As the year drew to a close, Zahara prepared for its most celebrated event, the Festival of Lights. The festival was a grand celebration that marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of the new year. The entire city was adorned with colorful lanterns, and the streets came alive with music, dance, and laughter. Aisha was excited to experience the festival for the first time. She and her friends helped decorate the bookshop and their neighborhood, hanging lanterns and arranging flowers. On the eve of the festival, they dressed in their finest clothes and joined the crowds in the main square. The square was a sight to behold. A magnificent stage had been set up for performances, and stalls selling delicious food and handmade crafts lined the streets. Aisha and Zahara sampled sweet pastries, savory kebabs, and refreshing drinks as they wandered through the festival, taking in the sights and sounds. As night fell, the square was illuminated by thousands of lanterns, creating a magical atmosphere. The festival began with a grand parade, featuring dancers, musicians, and performers in elaborate costumes. Aisha watched in awe as the parade passed by, feeling a sense of wonder and joy. After the parade, the stage was taken over by musicians and dancers who performed traditional songs and dances. Aisha and her friends joined in, dancing and singing along with the crowd. It was a night of celebration and unity, and Aisha felt a deep sense of connection to the city and its people. At midnight, the festival reached its climax with a spectacular fireworks display. The sky lit up with bursts of color and light, and the crowd cheered and clapped in delight. Aisha stood with her friends, her heart filled with happiness and gratitude. As the fireworks faded and the night grew quiet, Aisha reflected on her journey. She had come a long way from her small village, and she had grown and learned so much. She had faced challenges, made new friends, and experienced the wonders of a new city. But most importantly, she had discovered the strength and courage within herself to pursue her dreams. Chapter 7: The Journey Home. After spending a year in Zahara, Aisha decided it was time to return to Nurabad. She had learned and experienced so much, and she wanted to share her knowledge and stories with her family and friends. She also felt a deep sense of responsibility to help her village and contribute to its growth and prosperity. Her friends in Zahara were sad to see her go, but they understood her decision. They threw a farewell party for her, filled with music, dancing, and heartfelt goodbyes. Yusuf gave her a collection of books as a parting gift, and Zahara presented her with a beautiful painting of Zahara to remind her of their adventures together. On the morning of her departure, Aisha stood at the city gates, surrounded by her friends. "Thank you for everything," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "I will never forget the kindness and support you have shown me. I will write to you and visit whenever I can." With one last embrace, Aisha set off on the road back to Nurabad. The journey home was filled with a mix of emotions. She felt a sense of nostalgia for the village where she had grown up and excitement to see her family again. But she also felt a pang of sadness leaving behind the city and friends who had become so dear to her. As she walked, Aisha reflected on her experiences and the lessons she had learned. She had discovered the importance of courage, perseverance, and kindness. She had learned that the journey was just as important as the destination, and that every challenge was an opportunity for growth. When she finally reached Nurabad, she was greeted with open arms by her family and friends. Her parents were overjoyed to see her, and her grandmother Nani wept tears of happiness. The entire village gathered to hear about her adventures and the wonders of Zahara. Aisha shared her stories with the villagers, describing the vibrant markets, the beautiful gardens, and the grand festival. She also shared the knowledge and skills she had gained, teaching the villagers about new farming techniques, weaving patterns, and other valuable information. The villagers were inspired by Aisha's journey and her determination to achieve her dreams. They saw her as a symbol of hope and possibility, and they felt a renewed sense of pride in their village. Chapter 8. A New Beginning. Aisha's return to Nurabad marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life. She continued to share her knowledge and experiences with the villagers, helping them improve their lives and their community. She also started a small school, where she taught children to read and write, just as Mr. Faisal had taught her. The school quickly became a place of learning and inspiration for the village children. Aisha encouraged them to dream big and pursue their passions, just as she had done. She taught them about the world beyond Nurabad and the endless possibilities that awaited them. In addition to teaching, Aisha continued her own studies and exploration. She often traveled to nearby towns and cities, bringing back new ideas and knowledge to share with her village. She also kept in touch with her friends in Zahara, exchanging letters and visits whenever possible. As the years passed, Nurabad flourished. The village became known for its beautiful weavings, its innovative farming techniques, and its thriving school. Aisha's dream of making a difference in her village had come true, and she felt a deep sense of fulfillment and pride. One evening, as Aisha sat with her grandmother under the old banyan tree, Nani said, "You have done so much for our village, my dear. You have brought light and knowledge to our community, just as you dreamed." Aisha smiled and hugged her grandmother. "I could not have done it without the support and love of my family and friends. Thank you, Nani, for inspiring me and believing in me." Nani looked at her with pride and affection. "You have always had a special spirit, Aisha. You have the heart of a dreamer and the courage of a warrior. Never stop dreaming, my dear. The world is full of wonders waiting to be discovered." Aisha nodded, feeling a sense of excitement and anticipation for the future. She knew that her journey was far from over, and there were still many adventures and discoveries ahead. But she also knew that no matter where her path led, she would always carry the spirit of Nurabad and the love of her family and friends in her heart. And so, Aisha's journey continued, filled with dreams, courage, and endless possibilities. The girl from the small village of Nurabad had grown into a woman of strength and wisdom, ready to face whatever challenges and opportunities came her way. Her story was a testament to the power of dreams and the beauty of the journey. The end.